This is episode 290 of the Super League pod, and never have we spent so long discussing 2 minutes of a game that was mostly someone lining up a kick. But boy was it deserving of dissection, as we have a thorough and at times fraught recap of the grand final from all the fan angles. We also take a look at Hull's new coach, Dan Fleming's neck, and a busy week on the Tyne. Plus, your 2020 SLP Dream Team is revealed. Strap in, be ready for sudden outbursts. It's SLP time, one more time. Hello listeners, welcome to episode 290 of the Super League pod. It is our final normal episode of what has been a less than normal year, as we will be reviewing the Super League Grand Final. You've got myself, Mark, so the devastated Wigan fan angle is covered. We've got Alan and Tim from the regular panel to show the neutral views, and we've got St David Powell to fulfil the role as glorious victor from the grand final. So, David, welcome along.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm pleased to be here.
It's all right. I can just about stomach you as a Saints fan, so I'm sure we'll get through this with our friendship intact.
I certainly hope so, my friend.
Excellent stuff. Let's, Alan, tell everyone about our sponsor for the last time this year.
Yep, so this episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop. You can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and 1% of your order value will go into the SLP coffers if you put SLP discount in at checkout.
Good stuff, thanks to Rob's Toy Shop. With Christmas coming up, I'm sure they're very busy at Toy Shop HQ, but if you do need any stocking fillers, go to Rob's Toy Shop on eBay and get some, basically. Tim, do you want to tell people what we've got to live through for the next hour or two?
Yeah. So we get to do it all again. We get to relive moment by moment exactly what happened on Friday night. I mean, why not? We'll start off with a full run through of the Super League Grand Final from all the fan angles, Saints, Wigan and everybody else who just loved the game. We'll hit this week's news, and now as we know more about the 2021 season, and it was also a big week in West Hull. Then we'll announce the 2020 SLP Dream Team that you've been voting for over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that part because it means we're past this part. But the but the first thing we should do, as we tend to do in these final recap shows, is move on to talk about the Super League Grand Final.
Right, so as much as Mark might not want to, it's time to talk about the Super League Grand Final. For anyone who's been living under a bush for the last few days, it finished Wigan for St Helens 8.
Imagine if this is how you found out about the score and you didn't see what happened. What a lot to life that would be.
Where would you have had to have been living to have not known what had happened, but then still be able to listen to this?
Yeah.
That's quite a quandary. Yeah, maybe if you've been, in an internet blackout until tonight. Anyway, it finished 8-4. It was 2-0 at half-time to St Helens. I was thoroughly convinced it was going to be 0-0 at half-time. Chris Kendall was the man with the whistle. And in terms of the stats, Saints made more metres, had a better average gain. On the other side, Wigan had more breaks and fewer errors. But the biggest stat takeaway from this game is, most appropriately, a shared stat. The sides both made 858
together made.
Oh, they made. Oh, yeah, that would be a game.
Yeah.
The sides made 858 tackles between them, the most in any game this year. The average tackles per game, just for context, is 688. So the teams had 170 more than the average. And did I read somewhere that there'd been 79 sets?
I think League Express or somewhere said that. Oh no, it was on the RFL Twitter feed. Yeah.
Yes.
Which feels impossible, but anyway. In terms of the winning Saints players, Johnny Lomax had 198 metres. His halfback partner Theo Farge with 41 tackles and 150 metres. The man himself, James Roby, with 56 tackles, 12 marker tackles, none of which were missed. Perhaps, arguably, man of the match, James Bentley, 69 tackles, 25 of which were for marker, which ties an all-time SLP record. For Wigan, Jake Bibby with the try, 181 metres and 2 clean breaks. Bevan French with that try assist, 6 tackle busts and 135 metres. Liam Farrell with 41 tackles, 10 of which were for marker and 124 metres, going both ways. And also, impressively, although obviously not as heralded, Sam Powell with 61 tackles, 17 of which were for marker.
Yeah, Tim, do you want to... Let's do the fan views first, and then we'll kind of walk through the experience from David's point of view for the week and the game itself and the aftermath, as it were. So, Tim, do you want to start us off with the first fan view?
Yeah, so fastest finger first went to Paul O'Brien, POB the Viking, who said, what a finish, a great game that had everything and a great game for the neutral. It certainly went down to the wire. Well, no, it didn't, because they weren't playing in it.
Tom Andrews said, outstanding final, probably the greatest in memory. Questionable call, the Hastings high tackle, but you couldn't argue at either team winning it. Thought Bentley was robbed of man of the match, even with a top knot. Can only think of what noise it would have been if it had been a packed out Old Trafford. Oh well, on to next year. Thanks to Mark and the other hosts for another podcast season 2. And thank you, Tom, for your contributions.
As always, yeah. Karsten says, what a game, what a finish. Both sides gave everything and both sides would have been deserved winners.
Matt Speakman 20 says, hardest loss I've ever had to take. Really feel for French, who's been quality all season. Easy option would be to blame the horrendous penalty call to level the game against Hastings, but equally wasn't the call to go for 2. Equally bad wasn't the call to go for 2. Too far away, and as soon as we decided to kick, I was worried. 2 terrible blatant explosions cost us. A pretty great final and a good effort from Wigan. Fought very well when outmatched.
Alan Walker said, one for the purists will be overused for this one. Wigan shaped the style, Saints shaped the result. At least it was good to see James Graham was given the send-off he deserved.
I'll let Sin David fill his detail out at the end, so I'll move on to Jen. Jen K says, superb game and just as close and tense as we knew it would be. We had enough to win, but it just wasn't meant to be. Thought French was outstanding defensively all night and just unlucky at the end. I didn't fancy our chances in extra time anyway. Well done to the sport for keeping the show on the road this year. I think we'd all echo that.
Definitely. Mark Butler says, fuck. This was always going to be intense and close, but I can't imagine anybody saw a climax like this coming. I'm not sure there was a fair result here as everybody gave it all they had, so I suppose it needed to be something out of the ordinary. You just can't write this.
David Hunter said, what did I just watch? Whoa, a tough game that was tight the whole way. I thought Saints let the pressure off when the back three let the ball bounce from clearing Wigan's kicks. Saints never really looked like scoring a try. Great Wigan defence, but just no composure from Saints either. Then so many talking points in the last 10 minutes. I am sure others will be refs faulting. Then that play. My family weren't really watching, heard my reaction and thought I was dying. Still not sure what I just saw. Field goal off the post, then bounces over the crossbar. Does that still count? No, you know it doesn't, David. Then Wellesby, who is in line with the kick, runs through. French doesn't attack the ball, and a hint of a push off the ball and gets grounded. This will be talked about for the next century. It was my pleasure to witness. And just to put a sort of full stop on David's contribution, there's absolutely no fucking way in my life that I'm ever going to do a hypothetical rugby league about what would have happened if any of that stuff would have gone differently, because I'm never going to be able to deal with that.
Just putting that out there.
I can't deal with this, so I'm not going to be able to deal with that.
I have to echo what he said, though, about strange noises, because I was watching this downstairs whilst Anna was doing other things, and she had to come down and kind of say, what the heck's going on? Because it was a very odd noise I kind of made. I was a bit of... I didn't want to swear, but yeah, it was just... I was incredulous.
I got exactly the same because Heather was watching The Crown in the other room, and she came running in to find out if I was okay or if I'd fallen over or something. Because the noise, the sort of the wail I let out of just sheer amazement at what had happened.
I don't know what the noises were like in David's house, but in my house it was pin drop level of inconsolable silence.
You can imagine mine was reasonably noisy, Mark. My missus was watching The Crown too, and was astonished by the volume coming out of the front room.
We'll get to that. White Pie says, not sure I can adequately describe that roller coaster other than to say it was the best game of rugby league in this country for a very long time. Both sides defended with their lives, and no one will have left the pitch feeling they didn't put their all into it. In the end, the circus that was Super League 2020 came down to the final second and the bounce of the ball. Well done, Saints. That hurts, but proud of Wigan's performance.
At Mike Dodd 22 says, I was thinking this was going to be a difficult watch, considering asking me who I would have wanted to win is like asking me which leg I'd rather have cut off. The quality on display made up for it, though. An ending like that will only do wonders for the sport. Did Welsby not push French out the way before grounding the ball, though? Seemed to get overlooked by the commentary team.
That's two neutrals saying that. I've not said that. We'll get to everything in the last 10 minutes. I don't think, but anyway, I don't agree with these neutrals with the refs fault in. At MikeWeb58 said, bizarrely and even more unnaturally, I felt sympathy for Wigan. Nice throwback to last couple, 2 weeks ago, Mike. He said, I felt sympathy for Wigan. Neither side deserved to lose, especially given what it had taken to actually stage a final this year. Class from Saints to give Sean O'Loughlin the guard of honour as he left the field. Never seen a more beautiful asterisk, though. Alan?
I thought it was Tim.
No, it's you.
Anyway.
To do later.
You see, I've mucked it up. Lee Whitnell says, after a crap year, both sets of players gave us the incredible high-intensity final we needed. Wigan's defence looked impregnable, and only a few mistakes from Farge provided a key to unlock Saints. Hardacre hitting the crossbar and the look of the ricochet and kind bounce at the death show that Fate wanted Jammer to get that ring, and you can't fight fate. I bloody love this game. Just sorry I couldn't be there.
Paul Mac _78 says, never has the description of RL being a game of inches been more apt. From the Tyre no try to the Hardacre missed penalty to the late field goal attempt, this game was epic and will live long in the memory.
Aidan Stalker said, an ending that feels like it could only happen in 2020. I'm over the moon for Jammer. Just a pity I couldn't have popped over this year to see Saints play. Maybe next season. Hopefully so, Aidan.
Yes. Hopefully we can all get to some games next year. And David Pye says, brutal display of rugby league. Every player gave everything, and it's a shame one had to lose. Nothing between them, and came down to the bounce of the ball. Welsby chased harder than anyone else in the 80th minute. That was the only difference, but well done to both teams.
So, David, it was a weird week, weren't it? It didn't feel the same with the grand final being on the Friday. I know you weren't at work on Friday, but I had to struggle through the day. I don't know how you felt in the week building up.
Yeah, I mean, when you know there's a big final like this coming up, it's always, at least I always find, my sleep is somewhat disturbed.
Yeah.
I end up picking the team in the middle of the night, although that wasn't too difficult this year. Dreaming about the score, who's going to make the difference, picking the Wigan team in the middle of the night. Yes, it was that bad. That was definitely my week. And Friday, I was nervous all day. My son arranged a Zoom for all of our usual sort of match-going squad. We even went as far as normally we go to Altrincham Market and have some beer and pizza there. So we got the same beer that Altrincham Market serve, and the pizza's ordered in, and so we